Welcome back to the 29th episode of the Sketchbook Heroes with me, Elias.
And me, Robert.
Fix the sound, slippity slappity. What you gonna do? Ja 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 cuckoo jumbo ya 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 bada. Hey yo. Put me down, put my feet back on the ground. Put me up, take my heart and make me happy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. What are you doing, man? Welcome, ja man, welcome to the Sketchbook Heroes.
Nice.
Artists of the world unite. Step out of your comfort zone into the danger zone.
And we're back.
Hello.
Welcome to the Sketchbook Heroes podcast with me, Elias.
And me, Robert.
And together we are awesome.
Always.
Yeah. So we're still on vacay mode. The episodes are about 45, 50 minutes long, tops.
Ish.
To keep your, we want to keep you out in the sun creating stuff.
Yes. And also to force you to listen to all the old episodes.
Exactly. There's a lot of information there that I think is good to sort of re-listen to.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nightroos on Instagram for listening. I don't think anyone has listened to the podcast as much as he has.
No.
He's just
that's guaranteed.
And that was when we had like 3 episodes out. He's like, I'm re-listening for the 3rd time. You're like, there's only 3 episodes.
Dude, watch your brains.
Yeah. Again, big thanks for all the support that we've been getting on Instagram. Like, you guys have been actually reaching out with why you appreciate the podcast. You like the sort of balance that we give you, like the bullshit, the bullshit and the art tips. And it's super fun that you find that useful, because that is us. We're not.
There's no filter.
There's no filter. Yeah,
No.
We're not trying to curse more than we are. We're not trying to pull back on it. We're just saying a lot of shit.
No, this is how we sound like. Like, seriously, if you would be with us in a coffee shop or in a bar or whatever, this is what we sound like.
Exactly. Only you'd feel excluded then. No.
Yes.
No, just kidding. But yeah, big thanks for all the support. Keep rating us on iTunes to reach other artists. For all the people that have shared us in Instagram stories.
Thank you.
Thank you. That is awesome. And
so cool.
Yeah. Except the one that shared our voices. That was weird.
Yeah.
I just went into the story and then I heard myself and you and I was like, what the fuck? But yeah, we're really appreciative of all these things. Like, every time you retweet or you repost something or just shout us in stories. Like, if we get 1 new follower that we can be of help to, that's awesome. So go to iTunes, rate us, comment on our stuff. All that counts, it all counts.
Anything, pretty much.
Yeah, so find us on sketchbookheroes.com. You can find me, Elias Patlis, on Instagram, Twitter.
And you can find me, Robert Ekblom _art is the best one. Instagram and also Twitter, but mostly Instagram.
And if you're really lazy, just find us on sketchbookheroes.com.
Yeah,
because all the links are there.
Just a click away, or 2 clicks. Maybe 3.
Jazz.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And also, we are open to suggestions about collaborations,
Yeah.
Like different projects. Just send us an email at hello@sketchbookheroes.com and we will get back to you.
Yes, please. We like a project.
See.
Moving on.
On this episode, we're going to be talking about automation. How to sort of streamline your process, with whatever you're doing. Mainly your art, but everything around it that might speed up the way that you sort of deliver art on.
Yeah.
gonna sort of deep dive into that.
Nice one. Much needed.
Exactly. So
let's dive
let's
into
just
it.
dive right,
yeah,
right
let's
into
go.
it.
Off the diving board.
Off the diving board.
Sketch splash.
So, Robert, do you have any sort of things that you do around the studio that would be sort of, that you do, like, because right now you're doing them unintentionally, but now that we talk about it, are there things that you've like, okay, I'm going to have this there, that thing there, or like I'm going to do it in a certain way that you've sort of like, oh, it's faster if I do it like this, like all that.
For sure. Yeah, everything. Actually, like everything I do, especially in the studio. Like at home, I am all over the fucking place.
Yeah, same here.
Maybe I'm not. Maybe it is like a order in the whole chaos that I have at home, but I don't think about it as much. But in the studio, obviously you need to, because you have to have everything sanitized and in plastic and doing this and doing that. So I always have like the cleaning fluid here, I always have the color there, I always have the wipes over there, machine there, everything.
Yeah, you don't have to look for anything either.
I just know wherever
thing,
where it all is. Also that way I avoid doing mistakes or maybe flipping over a color cup or water thing or anything. But also in the way I create when I draw up designs and all that, I have a streamlined formula.
Yeah, I think that is really good. If you check Robert's Instagram, the latest sort of post that he's done, he has like how he sort of does the sketch, how he sort of lines it, and even the Copic layering is like in steps. Like, okay, I'm going to block this in, I'm going to block that in.
Very much. The only thing that sort of changes time after time is
the song.
Yes. No, that always stays the same. But sometimes I work from dark to bright. Sometimes I work from the lighter colors to the darker colors.
See.
It's pretty much, it only depends on which one I grab first, because I have it all in a plastic bag and it's all like everywhere. No order with my Copics. So I just go in, grab something, and if it's the lighter color, I'm going to use the lighter one. And then I work from that to the opposite end. But yeah, otherwise, check out my Instagram, Robert Ekblom _art. And you'll see I've posted a couple of my processes. And if you want a closer look, you can go into my Behance, where I have pretty much every work I've done is done in that way. So you can see step by step how I do it. So I guess I am very automated. How about you, man?
Yes, and I think that it started when I started getting freelance work. Like, okay, I'm spending way too much time on bullshit.
Yeah.
Like my way of working is like sort of too, like I just do what I did before. You draw because it's fun, and you just do it. Like pretty much like you when you grab the white and you're like, okay, go with white. But if you do that when you're trying to like reach a deadline, sometimes that might cause problems further down the road, which it does if I start with the lights when I'm working with Copics, because they might not be able to cover that certain pen that I sort of put out, like a Posca or something,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can't fix that with anything. So,
well, of course, it's not always like that. Sometimes you have to have a plan.
Yeah, definitely. But I used to work I personally did a lot of mistakes that I wasn't reflecting on. So when I started at King 5 years ago, I started sort of like, I felt the stress that I wasn't really catching up with everyone. And at some point I was like, okay, why am I being slower? First of all, I didn't know the software. That was one. But I knew Illustrator, but I wasn't good at Illustrator. You know what I mean? Like, I could do shit in it. It wasn't fast.
Well, that's where I am now.
So I sort of like, I just started finding out little pieces of information, and where the process was like, okay, I'm going to fix this one thing today. That's all I'm doing. And then that sort of sped up that part. Maybe I saved 15 seconds. Maybe I saved, 30 seconds. I don't know. It depends. Like every little thing you do. And then you just do that over a couple of months. As soon as you're comfortable, you just like do another fix. Or you have like a plugin that does it, or like you add little puzzle pieces to your thing and you become more complete as you go. So I think that was my biggest turning point, I think 5 years ago. And then I started implementing that in my personal art as well. And I've really started thinking about it again, like now, like really, really started to think about it. The character that I posted on my Instagram like a couple of weeks ago, like this really buff guy, like Johnny Bravo looking character.
Yeah.
With the Mickey Mouse shirt, is a great example of that. Like it's a sort of like a very simple way of drawing for me in my style. And I'm trying to see sort of patterns, like how I approach that and trying to like replicate that. Because once you've replicated it enough times, I can always draw that buff guy like very fast in the same way. You know what I mean? So I've been trying to do that, like think consciously. And this all started actually with the live streams on Instagram stories.
Nice.
That I've started doing. Because people are asking me questions that I know the answer to, but I'm not reflecting over it. So I'm not learning from them.
No.
So that is like a super good way of like understanding why you make the choices that you make. And I think Bouquet touched upon it as well, like when she was on the show, that she sort of analyzed the way that she drew stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that sort of gave me that sort of initiative to start again.
Nice.
So yeah, just look over the way that you do things.
Yeah. Take a step back.
Yeah, and just
look it
like
over.
And then just try to draw it, and then maybe draw it in a way, like try to find out how you do it, record yourself if you need to. I would say maybe one tip could be like live stream and have like, you don't need many followers to sort of watch your live stream, but if you have a couple of, people that you've talked to over the course of your Instagram career, so if it's just 4 people, like if they ask you stuff, maybe you can start analyzing the way that you do things. And then, use that. Like, okay, I drew this body. How do I did it like this. And then you try doing it again and like, oh shit, I'm really fast.
No.
And then you have a method of drawing that pose in that style. And then once you have that automated, maybe you can change the legs a bit. Maybe, and that'll be streamlined as well. So now you can draw like 4 different leg poses for that same upper body, and you sort of like break it down like over time.
Yeah. But that's sort of how you go up in levels as well.
I think so.
Because if you have something automated or like in routine, and it's just in your wrist, you don't think about it anymore, then I would say you've sort of elevated your drawing style. Because then you don't have to think about it, and you can think about the next thing, and you just keep going like that, and eventually you're going to be amazingly awesome and surpass everybody.
And I think, again, with that is that it, like some people might be worried that, oh shit, but I'm not going to be that creative if I do this every time. But the thing is, if you have a deadline, like you can be like this creative and this much efficient. Like you have to balance the efficiency with the, if you have a long deadline, for me, that is always the worst.
Yeah, I hate it.
If I know I just have a week.
No, like we've talked about this many times, but fuck it. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Yeah, fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
No, I think we touched upon this a couple of times before, but I can't work with a long deadline. I need that sort of fire in my ass, short deadline. So I always drag it out until the last possible sort of minute. And like, I know it's going to take me this long to do this thing, so I'll do it in a little bit of a shorter time.
I get a month?
Like, I could do it, No, just to push myself as hard as I can. And that's what I do. Like, and I'm really open with my clients about this. And I know I've said this before as well, but I never draw anything ahead of time, because that is a waste of time for me. I know it sounds really douchey, but it's not. It's I always draw like at the earliest the day before the tattoo.
Terrible, Robert. Terrible.
But normally I get up really early and I draw the design the morning before I do the tattoo. So I get up at like 6 in the morning. I start tattooing at 12. So that gives me 6 hours to start sketching. But that way, when the client comes in and I show them the sketch and they want to change something, I don't feel bad about it. If I've spent 1 or 2 weeks on a design,
definitely,
and then I show the design and they're like, no, I want to change this and this, I'm going to be upset, sad, and fucking angry.
But I think it's different with tattoos.
Yes.
I think with clients that I work with for illustration, they get to see the sketch.
Yeah.
And I only have like you get 2 corrections, like or 1.
Yeah.
Like you get 1 say or 2 say. So,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
won't
yeah.
give them more than that.
No, and that's a totally different thing. That's why
Yeah.
I love tattooing so much, because I've been down that road. I have done all that freelance stuff, and I have done the normal graphic design work and all of that shit. And it just, it takes so long. You know, sometimes you have to wait like a month for feedback, and then you get like an A4 sheet of feedback, just a fucking novel. Oh, this person would like to change this, and this person says this should be like this, and this, and you're like
my old experience, like we talked about, I think I was like, oh, could you just like check it out and then just give me some feedback on what you want? And then they were like, oh, we sent it around the office, and then Bob at accounting said, you're like, what? And then I got like 2 A4s, and then I told them you only get 2 changes, and they put them in 2 columns. I'm like, that's not really different.
so creative.
Yeah, you got to give them points for that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's actually a very big company in Sweden.
Yeah, but the big companies are the worst, normally.
It depends. For me, no.
My experience is, yes. No.
Okay.
Definitely too many chefs having too much, like, they think they have control.
Yeah, but I think it comes down to us as creatives to school them a bit there, because that's what I did. I told them, like, I know there's 3 of you holding this project, but I only want I can only work with 1 of you having the final say.
Yeah.
So you guys decide amongst yourselves, but then 1 of you gets the deciding vote. And then you can sort of like fight amongst yourselves, but I cannot work with all your opinions.
Yeah.
Like there's too much. And then you send it around the office, and that's another like 100 people.
Yeah. But then it's up to that person to take all that feedback and sort of like, okay,
Tone it
we
down.
can use this. That's bullshit. That's bullshit. We can use this. La 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 la.
Yeah, exactly. And these
summarize
45 other ones are the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's also a good reason to do the automated thing, like in your process.
It really saves time.
Because then you'd like, if you have set, like, okay, I'm going to send the first initial sketch, and then I'm going to send the next part, and at that part, you can still feedback. After that, there is no more feedback. And then you send in, like, almost finished and then finished.
I have a really good example for that, actually.
Good.
The work that I did for Procreate that showed up on the Apple event at the Worldwide Developers Conference. Boom! I had actually no idea it was going to show up there.
Yeah,
I knew it was related.
right.
I knew it was related to something Apple, but I did not know. I thought it was like.
I did not hit her.
I did not. So Tommy, we saw. No, but yeah. No, I just have his voice in my head. Yeah, so when I did the job for Procreate, like, first thing I did, first day, I did the sketch the same day that I got the brief. And I did a sketch. I sent it to them. They were like, oh, yeah, we like this idea, blah, blah, blah. Keep going. And then I sent it again, like, midweek. And they were like, yeah, we understand this is maybe a bit stylized. Could you just do, like, this changes because of this reason? And I was... like, I personally don't care if it's not always to my liking, the changes that they want. Because that's something I've learned to sort of, like, this is not my art. Like, sometimes they want me to do a piece, but sometimes they order it for promotional purposes. And then they have a certain, like, intent, or they want it to sort of, and then it's fine for me. Like, I don't really care. If you want a blonde guy instead of, like, a red-haired guy, or, like, whatever. I don't really personally care.
You go
like,
Frozen on the bitch.
Exactly.
Yeah, just let it go.
You let it go. Exactly. I think a lot of people struggle with, like, oh, but my client doesn't, like, want, like, good art.
We're like, no,
that's not.
They want something specific.
They want something specific.
They're paying you for it.
Exactly. They want it in your style, but they want something specific. And I think that's great. So what I did with that is I sent them the initial sketches, and And they were like, yes, go with this. And then I used the rest of that week to really polish it to my liking, you know?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we really like where this is going. We have no further feedback, but I still kept it for another 4. Like, I could have called it finished, but I kept working on it for the extra 4 days because I thought it was fun. You know what I mean? Like, I got paid for it. Did I put extra hours on it? Yes, but that was on me, you know? Like, I was like, okay, I don't know what to draw right now. I'm just going to keep, like, doing some of the things.
Polishing it.
That I just want to add to it. Yeah. And, you know, like, I don't care if I get paid for these hours because I just want to draw.
Yeah.
But I don't want clients to sort of expect that from me. You know, you can do an extra one if you had 4 days over. No.
No. That was your private time.
Yeah, exactly. That was my private time. Going into fixing stuff. Like, I didn't like this. They're not going to know the difference, but I'm going to be satisfied with fixing some of the things that usually annoy me when I let stuff go, you know, because of deadlines and stuff.
And actually, because the other day I rewatched the Drew Struzan documentary, you know, The Man Behind the Poster.
I still need to see that one. I've seen parts of it.
It's so good. But, and he goes through, like, his process and there you can really see the automative, like, he has his fixed set of stages, like, he's going to do a bunch of initial sketches. Like, for us, that would be thumbnails. For him, those are, like, amazing pieces of artwork, which is insane. And he sends in, like, for, I think it was Big Trouble in Little China, when he did that one, he said that he did about 8 dozen sketches for it.
And you should see the sketches when we say sketches.
Like, it's insane.
It's not my shit.
It looks almost like the finished stuff that I do. Those are his normal sketches.
Yeah.
So 8 dozen, that is about 80 pieces of art just going nuts. Yeah. And then they picked and chose different pieces from all of them, and then he made the finished piece from that.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long that process was. Maybe over a week or 2 weeks or a month. But
yeah, exactly. But also what Drew Struzan is awesome at. Like, Drew Struzan went to art school.
Oh, yeah.
And he spent years studying, okay?
Yeah.
But you know what he does? He traces all of them.
Yeah.
Like, he just grabs...
Not
he
those
blocks,
sketches, though.
No. But what he does to the final composition is he traces it onto his artboard, you know?
Oh, yeah. He uses a projector. Blasts it on the thing.
And then he does the blocking, which means, like, this is going to be shadow, this is going to be this.
Yeah.
And he has this, like, sort of, like, color pencil sketch on top of, you know, the board.
Yeah.
And that is also automation. Why spend the time?
Exactly. And he said he puts it that way.
Oh, he does.
Yeah,
oh, there you go.
He's like, no, why would I, like, try to free draw all of this? It's gonna take me way too long. Yeah. I need to have, like, it needs to look exactly like the person. So why wouldn't I trace? And he's like, you know, the ugly word tracing.
Yeah.
But it's like, ooh.
I've actually read something that he said as well in an interview. He was like, I spent all my years in art school doing the drawing, like, you know, watching and drawing, and doing the studies. I don't have to do that anymore. I'm not in art school. Like, he doesn't, like, I don't think he's like, you're never fully taught everything.
No.
But there are steps that you can skip, especially if you're on a deadline. Why would I sort of, like, miss the deadline because I didn't trace? That is stupid.
Yeah, and they're not coming to him to get, like, an original fine art piece. Well, now they are probably. But no, it's an ordered poster. Yeah. They want his drawing style.
And they want the final result of that said style.
It's still... They need it to be photorealistic. And they need it to look like the actors, obviously, because you need to look at the poster from across the street and recognize the actors on the in the movie, because you can't read the text. But so definitely check it out. Drew, the man behind the poster. The Drew Struzan documentary, amazing. If you can find it or buy it, like, it's definitely worth your money. It's amazing. And if you can't get that, get his book, because it's also really, really inspirational.
It's awesome. And Drew was one of those, like, you know, he really perfected his craft.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing. And now there are people sort of just mimicking him. You know, that's the cool thing about being good at what you do. Yeah, exactly. Paul Schiffer is like one of those that he does it digitally, but he's like up there, you know, sort of doing the style, and he's just doing tons of different movies, you know, for different like.
And it just makes me feel so good seeing,
No, dude,
you know, that he's getting work and he's doing it, because that means that it's still alive there somewhere.
Yeah.
And there is hope for us, you know, traditionalists and the people who actually want
But that's
artwork
not traditional.
for post.
That's digital.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah,
I mean,
but I mean, like, but
no,
they're
for
mimicking
for the posters. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
they want artwork instead of photographs for the posters.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
So
Okay,
yeah,
that's what
excuse
we're talking
my my way of saying it, because I would still do it traditionally.
But there is nothing wrong with like taking away 3 hours from your work.
Hell
you know,
no.
like it's still like the final result is all that matters. You know, like if I take photos and just photo bash a piece and then paint over that, and you can't tell.
No.
Does the end result still, like, is that still what the customer wanted? If yes,
Go for it.
go for it. You know, like it does not matter. But don't steal shit from Google.
No.
Like, I don't mind if you use my artwork and then you make it disappear because you like the color scheme or something. Or like, oh, this shape. If I turn his Mega Man piece like on, you know, like horizontally, and then I paint over it, I get this really nice blue mountain, blah, 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 you know. And you paint over that. That's fine.
Yeah.
The thing is, you can use stuff that is out there, but it can't show in the final result.
No, because that's stealing,
That's stealing. Yeah.
and you're caught red-handed. Exactly.
Even with the burnet door. No? Fuck it. Yeah. So automating your process. It doesn't matter what it is. Like it can be the actual like act of making the art, like, you know, the way you draw, the way you sort of use your colors, the steps. It can be the stuff around your work.
And I just wanted to cut in saying, because a lot of you have been writing, or one of the main, like, what do you say, troubles or the things you need help with is actually drawing when you like have a limited time. If you automate your process, that's going to help the fuck out of you, because you go home and you have that hour, and if you have a process set,
Yes.
it's going to be so much easier for you to just get shit done. You just
Yes.
sit down, you do this initial sketch first, and then you go in with the liner, and then you block it in with colors, and then you do that, and then you do that, and then you have something to post on Instagram. You do that, and you can do an hour every day,
Exactly.
and you're posting a lot of stuff that's going to give you more followers.
Let me
and
build
more
on that,
likes,
actually.
And Ilyas is going to build.
On Robert's thing.
Fuck yeah.
What he said about automating, like if you have that set process that Robert talks about and you have that hour, imagine that, let's say that is in the evening, okay? Just as for fun, for this example. And you, on your way to work, start thinking about an initial idea. Then sometime during the day before lunch, maybe, 9 o'clock coffee that we have in Sweden.
Nice.
You do another little, like a little thumbnail sketch or 2, 3.
Yeah.
Then you've already started this.
Exactly.
You're starting
the process
to
is
exactly.
is
The
ongoing.
anticipation
Hell
is
yeah.
starting. Once you get home, you know, let's say it's like 8 p.m. You're home, kids are in bed, wife is watching, you know, I don't know,
Something bad.
Dr. Phil. Well, you know the problem. But then you have
Worst.
worst example, I know. So you have that hour. You only have an hour because the world is going to explode after that. And then you have the fucking you've thought about the concept, you've sketched it out.
Yeah.
Now you're just like,
You're
okay, I'm
halfway
just gonna,
there.
yeah. So if you have an automated process or like a where you sort of streamlined it,
Yeah. Easy.
you're going to be able to just like take that initial thumb and maybe you'll get the first sketch, you know, the nice sort of like, this is my guide.
Yeah, the more polished one.
Yeah, the more polished one. And that might be what you do in that hour.
But it's still awesome.
But
and
it's
then
still
the next,
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
next day, if you only have that hour and then you have an hour the next day, then you're fucking finished.
Yeah, exactly. And you also build the anticipation. Because some of you complain about not having like the inspiration, you know, and we all go through that all the time.
Of course.
It's like nothing special that you have that we
No.
we're not having.
Hell no.
It's just that what are you doing to sort of work towards not having it. You know, like, so if you create anticipation, then you're gonna long for it. You know,
Oh yeah.
like this Spider-Man movie. I waited for so fucking long.
Yeah.
Why the fuck did they announce it like over a year ago?
Exactly.
Fuckers.
Fucking torture.
Yeah. So when I was going to the cinema, it felt like I was like running through a field and I was just dancing, and you know, like that's what it felt like walking to that movie. Mm-hmm. And you should create that same anticipation for your work.
Yeah, because well, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, automate your process.
Your shits. Yeah.
Yeah, and please feedback on this episode. Comment if you do have your process, and if this helped you at all. Do what I do. Take a picture after each step.
That is actually really good. Document the way that you like your work that you do. And
like I always do it because I love seeing my processes. Mm-hmm. Like I do it for selfish reasons. Mm-hmm. Now I do it just because I want to share with you guys so you can understand the way I work, and you know, just because now I've seen a couple of people doing my style of portraits.
Oh yeah,
which is
I saw
awesome.
That tag that you got as well.
So
it's
please,
so nice.
like if any of you other guys are getting inspired by my stuff, please tag me. Let me know if you want feedback. You know, I'm super happy to give you feedback and trash your shit. No, I'm kidding. Love all you guys. I think you're doing great work. Keep practicing. Keep doing. Become better than me, please. That's what I want.
That is always like the best.
But give me credit.
But give me credit for your skill.
Also royalties.
But yeah, what Robert said about sort of getting back to us about this, please stop a moment and think about the way that you draw, like on your like next piece.
Yeah.
Or your next sketch, actually. Try to even incorporate this in like the way I sketch is like this.
Yeah.
Try to think about it a bit. If you're on the Skolai July sort of challenge that was a while ago. Yeah. And just like think back to how you sort of created your stuff for that, or anything that you're going to create like here on after. Just try to think about it and please get back to us.
Yeah, and it's going to be really apparent. Yeah. Like as soon as you start thinking about it, because you might use the same pen for the whole thing. Yeah. But you do have certain steps. Yeah, like exactly. I'm already seeing my whole well, obviously because I do post it, but I have the rough sketch and I know when that's finished, and then I go in and redefine it. Yeah, exactly. And that's the next step. And then I define even more, and then I go in with a liner, and then. Yeah. Like as soon as you start thinking about it, it's going to be super obvious. And yeah, please
maybe
document.
Like a week after this episode is released, maybe we can post it as a question on Sketchbook Heroes, because you guys are awesome at answering fucking question posts. What's up with you guys? You are awesome. Like you don't you might just like a picture or
they're on vacation.
Not saying
they got
anything.
Nothing to do.
But when we post a question, like it's just like sometimes just plain text, and you guys are just like bombing us with answers about like what your art struggle is. That was like a total of 400 questions or like answers. I was like, what the fuck?
Amazing.
Yeah, so that is insane. So we're going to ask you later to sort of like give us some of your sort of automated processes or something, like how you've streamlined your process. So yeah.
Awesome.
So just to recap on some of the things to keep in mind to sort of reach this automation thing. Or streamlining.
Yeah, smooth your process.
Exactly. One was sort of like just stop and analyze, I guess is the first one.
Well, yeah, you need to do that anyway, I think.
A useful tip that I discovered was the live streams for me. Like, I don't have a lot of people on the live stream when I have it because reasons. But the people that are there are engaged, and that's all that counts, you know, like 6 people, 12 people, 20 people, doesn't matter. As long as you can have some engagement. Yep. And they ask you stuff about the way that you draw a pose, or how do you draw a guy jumping, you know, like, and you start really thinking about these things. So live stream it or video record it and watch it yourself.
Yeah, it's going to help.
It's going to help either way, yeah.
And then my style of process, just taking a picture for every time you feel like,
this is a step,
Yeah. And that's going to help too. Just thinking about when you take a picture. Because sometimes, you know, you look at two of my pictures and you're probably not even going to see the difference between them.
Yeah.
So, but like for me, that was a new step because I needed to take another picture. So it's probably just like I added some more whites or some more depth or whatever. Very subtle, but for me, that was a new step again.
Yeah.
So,
And maybe ask yourself at the end, sort of like, do I really need this step? You know, like, could I sort of make it more efficient and bake it into this step?
Exactly. Could I just jump from that one directly to this one instead?
Because sometimes you're a bit of a coward when you paint and you're like, you just go too light for no reason.
Yeah.
And you know that it's going to, like Copics.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh shit, it's so dark right now. But you know that it's going to lighten up a lot. And you still go with that one. You know, like, it's so unnecessary.
And your Illustrator process, sort of, the work, trying to...
Yeah, I think that goes with any art application.
Yeah.
Find ways of saving time.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much what this episode is about.
Yeah, so just
saving
like...
time or making it more useful, I guess.
No matter what you're doing, think of, if you analyze it, there's probably a lot of steps that you could sort of skip. Like, that's why I don't scan my drawings. You know, I take a picture with my phone. It's in my Dropbox. It's in my computer in like seconds. And I just draw over it. And for me, that's way faster.
Yeah.
And I can even like just paint on top of it. I don't need line art. I don't need, you know, that's why I don't do line art anymore. And when I do, it's garbage. So those are ways for me to sort of save time.
Yeah.
So yeah, that concludes this episode.
Yeah.
If you find it useful, share it with friends. Rate us on iTunes to reach a larger artistic audience. Find us on sketchbookheroes.com.
As always.
Thank
you very much.
Yeah.
And hope you guys are having a great summer.
Yes.
Again, just sorry for doing these short episodes. I feel like we're cheating, but we also need vacation.
Yeah, no, but it's also for you guys. Engagement usually drops around the summer. You know, like you have shit to do. If we can keep them short and intensive,
exactly.
Maybe you can
do more. That's
stuff.
what we want.
Fuck it.
Awesome super ending down. Tired levels maximum. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. See you next week.
Yeehaw, meemaw.
Up and skadoosh.